So how can I bring everything into full triangle? um, well, we have the reigning hot rod to the capitalist community, which is neighbors with the English sort of social perspective being their basis without a bloody revolution. Now, how does the Orient, because the way I basically have to pull this together, full triangle, is evaluating thousands of years of civilization, including most recent phenomena of America and Canada. Um, you know, when you look at those two, it's kind of like the West is totally bipolar, yet really, if you go between the two nations, nothing seems that different. Um, from an infrastructural, modern standpoint. Um, yeah, it might be a little more ghetto in some areas, some ways, but people are smart, loyal, and resourceful. And it actually, in many ways, comes out a lot better than everyday poverty in America in some cases. Um, Ultimately, the reason Canada seeks, in my mind, a higher prevalence in terms of fruition to societal norms and a diverse culture, you'll find everything necessitative to bring that together with their implicatory interest to do what's good for the source, not what's good for the individual. And how that can be just as well worked in a modern infrastructural sense. So we have this polarity in the central continent of America, North America. And then we come out with the answer, which is South America and Mexico, where essentially you get a bunch of big asses, mixed people, not diverse societies, and just, people trying to work together, being happy. And even though they're not necessarily as big a weight in terms of how the globe works between the Orient and India, the EU and Canada and America. These are the three regions that you have to economically watch and make sure you understand to have any global concept of where and how the strings need to be pulled or the gears need to be worked. So how can I bring this reality into a full triangle of the most rudimentary philosophical certainty? Bring together economic barter structure in America, aka the US. We pull that over to Europe and we validate socialism through capitalism in the sense that democracy is best facilitating these concepts, which is difficult for a modern day person to philosophically grasp because Europe is considered socialist by America, yet capitalist by China. Both and all are formably in a democracy by modern standards in comparison to what they once were. it just takes different forms. And then you have the communist minority construct in the Orient. And you bring that back around to Canada with a social premise, well built into a global trade structure. So how do I figure out how to make this a philosophical triangle of brilliance? Well, I don't want to say the total answer is South America because, their dictators are really stupid and always bankrupt themselves. The Asian dictators, not necessarily, but look inhumane. Europe just got fixed, so whatever. And America is being pulled and pressed in so many directions. God knows. How to bring Canada and South America into perspective as a union after bringing them in as a union in the beginning with America. Jesus Christ, it's going to be difficult. Everyone's probably, if anyone could hear me talk, they would presume I'm nuts. But I'm an artist with a far out mind that uses words, not paintbrushes. And even though it might not be profound, it's as good as I can get. And I'm pretty sure with this method, I can leave everyone feeling a sense of playing a part in the Three Musketeers. Okay. Oh, now I got to start with the communism. Start with the communism. Go to the capitalist communism. Devalue democracy in a socially unimplied circumstance, relevating as to how Europe was recreated. But the Orient moved after that in the communist states. That's not gonna make sense. Fuck. It's such a simple Rubik's Cube, but it's so hard for simple people like me. Rubik's Triangle again. So in the beginning, there were commies and communists. These commies and communists made little commie babies. They later learned individuality, birthed several languages and several nations, which at one point got overthrown by an economic disturbance from the Middle East. This left us all uncertain. But through the implications of this diversity and this union, we find validation, in a national pride which is unionized, in a position to capitalize on any given property, service, or product. Now, these guys took it too far, turned their people into robots after they colonized. With the same love of Adam and Eve, a world was built out of a perfect divide and two divisions of humanity. Without one or the other or them both, they are nothing. Through them all, they are everything. Ultimately, though, where do we discern communism creating capitalism, or capitalism creating communism, or socialism validating democracy? Well, you can only have democracy if you have an educated population which knows what it's doing, first and foremost. Without this, you've created an economic structure which is like a mitigated army principalized by greed. So, without the greed, without the jealousy, and without the forced control, all three of these structures have brilliantly compromised themselves and each other to a point which they molded within each other to birth a sense unto which should and shouldn't be compromised through the beginning of life. We all want to be happy. We all want our wives to be happy. We all want our children to be happy. And if at any given point we are not prevailing and providing any given individual food, shelter, water, educational properties to better themselves, and health, any one of these individuals could become a criminal, murderer, rapist, extorter, white-collar overlord of crime, or just a general pathologist who can't really recognize what it would be like with these five things. Clearly adapting to his necessity to bring the next generation up, giving him a focus on nothing more than his pride as a father, a husband, and a person. No matter how far the population grows, without this being the majority, the 99% of your population, you will get nowhere from this point forward. Anarchy is in the midst of your inability to handle a population you can't control, from its populace to its actions. Aid it, nurture it, better it. Everything will work after that. Ideologically conflict with each other? Not a good idea. All humanitarians will be seen in time and place through this conjuring of communications going global, simple, and easy. You just have to be patient and feel righteous in living happy and right by the standards you know. Facilitate this for yourself and others.